Okay, so do you think it's actually possible that we could be wasting our time stockpiling? I mean, stockpiling for groceries seems so, well, so important, so logical, so sensible. But could there actually be a point or a time where things that we do that could actually be a waste of time in our efforts to stockpile? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More Jan channel. How you doing today? Thank you very much for being here. Listen, it's really important. We want to stockpile. We want to do the right thing, but there are a couple of practices that, maybe we could tweak out. Okay. One of the things that we think that we're doing that is so right, but is actually so wrong is this: ignoring essential supplies. What does that mean, Jan? Well, let's say this, like neglecting to stockpile basic necessities. Yeah, like water. Water should be one of the first things we get. Okay. Neglecting to stockpile basic necessities like water, first aid supplies, and a radio. Remember that thing, has like a little box, has like little voices that comes out of it. No, it's very important. First aid supplies, a radio in favor of non-essential items is actually not the greatest approach to emergency preparedness. No, no, it's not. No, it's not. Another thing that we do, and lots of people do this all the time in general in life, and perhaps if we cut down on doing it, there wouldn't be so much food waste, in my honest opinion. Poor storage practices. Yeah. Storing stockpile items improperly. Anyone out there guilty as charged on that one? Yeah, all of us. I think all of us at one point, but we need to tweak that. Storing stockpile items, okay, improperly, and that leads eventually to spoilage or damage, is a waste of time and effort, not to mention a waste of money. I'm just saying. Focusing, here's another thing a lot of people do, that they focus on panic buying, stockpiling solely based on a fear of, or rumors of, rather than on rational assessments of potential needs. This can lead to unnecessary purchases and waste. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Absolutely. And I wanted to know officially what, like, let's say, like, intelligently speaking, not my intelligence, but double checking this. I wanted to officially what a waste of time stockpiling would be. And the answer I got was hoarding items that are readily available, okay, unnecessary, or have a short shelf life rather than focusing on essential supplies for potential emergencies. Well, that kind of makes a lot of sense. All right. So, okay, so what constitutes a waste of time in stockpiling? We don't like to waste time. I don't know about you. I don't like to waste time because time is just absolutely one of the things it's a precious commodity. Once you lose it, it's gone, done, finito, finished. You cannot obtain it again. Finish, over it. Unlike money, which is replaceable, time is not replaceable. I'm just saying. All right. Unnecessary items. Stockpiling unnecessary items that are not essential for survival or for daily living, such as non food items or luxury goods. That's a waste of time and resources. Okay. Also, items with short shelf life. If you're going to buy items with short shelf life and you're not going to use it up in a timely manner, complete waste of time, effort, energy, and absolutely money. And I don't know about you. I don't like food waste. Like we're talking about like food, for example, specifically in this case. Okay. Short-term items that are not used in a proper manner. Okay. Like, for example, let's say you go to the grocery store and you happen to run into those brightly colored orange stickers on the meat packaging. Nice. Looks great, right? Well, you could use it up very soon. You should use it up very soon. And if you don't plan to cook it up, I would cook up the item immediately when I get home. Or if I can't, don't have enough time for that, throw it in the freezer. You got to do something. I don't suggest that you leave a manager's special item in the fridge because sometimes people have a tendency to forget on the short term and there it goes in the fridge souring quickly. So some action is required there. Either you freeze the item immediately for future use, which is the easiest way by far, or you cook it up real fast. Okay. Now, That's another thing. Sometimes you're better off. This is in general. Many times I'll take a package of meat, okay, if it's small enough in its original packaging, and just toss it in the freezer. Some things are just wrapped so well, like meat, that you could actually do that. You could take that down, but then you plan to cook up the whole thing. But that's not feasible, of course, if you have large amounts of meat. But let's say you're buying a single package of, those Italian sausage, for example. Let's say that those Italian sausage has about, usually I think they come in packs of 6 or 7 links, if I'm not mistaken. Not always, could be maybe 8, depends on the company or whatever. And let's say 7. That package in and of itself, I wouldn't break it up into smaller packagings in that case. I would just throw the whole thing in the freezer, and then I will take it down when I need it, cook up the whole thing. But if, let's say, I go to a store, a wholesale store that has huge packages of the same product, like tons and tons of it, naturally I'm going to break that up into smaller quantities and freeze it that way. See, that's the problem. That's what we mean by waste of time stockpiling methods, okay? Waste of time stockpiling methods. Purchasing manager's special and not using it up or cooking it or putting it away, and then just leave it in the fridge to sour, and then it's really not usable sometimes. Some things are really under a time constraint. And I would really tend to think that a meat package as a manager's special is under such a time constraint, okay? I don't know. I think a lot of the things that we do sometimes are just mindless. All of us, we make mistakes that way. We don't mean to make mistakes that way, but it happens that way. And it constitutes a lot of money wasting. And that's the last thing that either one of us want to do. So, why should we have a waste of time stockpile? No, we shouldn't have a waste of time stockpiling. All right. And to the answer, is there really such a thing? Of course, there really is such a thing. And many of us are actually really guilty as charged of that. How many times did you purchase a Thanksgiving turkey or a chicken, or any time of the year? It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, but a turkey or a chicken, for example. This is a good question, actually. And I don't know if everybody can answer it the same way. Would you say, in your honest heart of hearts, that you get the maximum value of every chicken you buy, of every, notice the word every. I think it's always possible, because from soup to nuts, we could really like use it. For example, you roast a chicken, you get a roaster, right? Nice chilly day, you make a roaster in the oven on a Sunday, for example. Then you get the first night of the roaster, right? Right then and there. Then what happens with that? What do you do after that? I could tell you, from the beginning of the time I get my roaster to the end of it, there is like a continuum, a continuation of steps that I'm going to use to maximize my value. Okay. So that means, for example, the first night or afternoon or whatever, you have the meal, whatever way you make your meal. Then I clean it off, right? Then I make packages of meat. But sometimes people fail to recognize there's a lot of little bits on that meat. You can make a bone broth from it, or reach the places you couldn't by just tossing the carcass into your crock pot, into your slow cooker. Talk about maximizing and not being a waste of time stockpiling method at all whatsoever. It is actually a complete thing. So if we're more mindful, we could save a ton of money that way every single trip.